You want to add anything else to that?
No, that was perfect.
Hello again, team. It's Jess or JashiiCorrin, and welcome back from my October PowerSheets check-in. As I've been doing for the past couple months, today we're checking in to see what went well for October in terms of my tending list, and what my plans for November are. Now, if you were tuning in with my Month of Planning with Me series, you will have seen this tending list quite a bit, so I'm not going to spend too much time going through this one. But going from the top down, my encouraging words were, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice at the end of the day that says, I'll try again tomorrow. This was one of the quotes that I found when I was looking at breast cancer awareness quotes. And I was tossing up between this one and another one to put in my journal, and ended up going with that one for the journal and this one for my tending list. The top priority I gave myself was health, both physical and mental. And although this was my top priority, I don't really think that my power sheets may reflect this. Heading into my monthly action items though, the first one we have is making my November tending list. This one I have technically finished since we're making this video, so I can go colour that one in. To do pretty much all of my writing in my power sheets, I like to use my Papermate Inkjoy gel pens in the 0.7 size. After this one, I had finished 3 books, and I honestly don't even know why I wrote this down, considering I've had trouble reading even one book in a month. I guess at the start of October I was feeling overly ambitious, but I gave myself the goal of reading 3 books. Well, actually finishing 3 books. I'm technically partway through at least 2 books, and one of those I did actually pick up and read some of in October, even if it was only a chapter. That book is Plan A by Brooke Turner. This is also the book that I was reading in September, the one that I said I didn't like very much, so I'm not really too sure why I decided to continue trying to read it. I think I'm just stubborn. I'm not saying that this book doesn't have its merits. I am enjoying aspects of it, but I think that there was a certain part in the book I got to, and it just didn't sit that well with me. I don't know, I'm gonna try keep on keeping on with this. The next one I had on my list was decluttering the bedroom. And I kind of feel like maybe decluttering wasn't really the correct word for this. As far as clutter goes in my bedroom, I don't really have a lot of it. Vogel, on the other hand, did have some, and we did work on decluttering some of his stuff. But since I did my big KonMari cleanup a couple of years ago, I don't really have that much clutter. I feel like the space in my bedroom isn't getting utilised in the ways that I want it to, and I do want to do something to decorate it a bit more. So for that one, some progress was made, but certainly not finished. In terms of spending time with my friends, I did get to check this one off. And as you can see, I do have my post-it note over here that has all of the different events that I was going to attend. So I had time spent with Mum when she was here at the start of October, my weekly Boudreaux Wednesday hangouts, my birthday, my friend Nick's birthday, our science department outing where we went for a laser force and bowling, date night with Vogel, and then Harry Potter high tea with my friend. After this, I had play an Xbox game, and as I said during my month of planning with me, I feel like I could have worded this one better. Mostly because the wording of this one kind of limits me to playing one game, and I'm not that kind of an Xboxer. I like to play little bits of a whole bunch of different games instead. I did have a sticky note for this one as well though, so I played some Bomberman, and I wrote Lego Adventures, but it's actually Lego Avengers. In terms of the time blocking schedule, I put it down again, it still hasn't gotten done. I think I need to do a little bit more thinking around that before I actually set one up. Dealing with the ants is still a work in progress. And thank you for everybody's suggestions with how to get rid of them. The chore roster revamp did happen, and as you guys saw, I made a chore roster spread in my collections bullet journal. I made my purchase of the 2020 power sheets, and although it hasn't arrived yet, I have been watching all of those people's reveal videos online, where they flick through it and look at the differences between this year's and next year's, and I am very excited. Organising the photos folder, I made some progress on, but there is still a fair way to go. For my weekly action items, the first one we have is try a new recipe, and that happened for the first 3 weeks, but not the last 2. In the first week, we had lime and coriander salmon skewers. In the second, we had chicken schnitzel Alfredo pasta. And then in the third, we had chicken tacos with avocado cream sauce. In terms of my chore completion, this did happen for the first 2 weeks, and it partially got done for the second 2. For the 5th week, because I like to do my chores on the weekend, there was no weekend for the 5th week, thus the black dot. Same for the face mask and the meal planning, so they both happen on the weekend, and again, no weekend in the 5th week. For a new Bujo layout or collection, I was able to check this off for 3 out of the 4 weeks. Again, this is another one that I like to leave to the weekend. For this one, along with the chore roster and my November setup, which I decided to include, I also had my Term 4 schedule spread as well. And the last one of my weekly action items was scheduling next week's lessons. The first one here has a black dot because it was still the holiday period, so I didn't have any lessons to plan for because the next week was a holiday. But this did happen for the remaining weeks. And then we're on to my daily action items. And these are the ones that I'm probably the most varied in my thoughts about. I'm really happy that mindful eating happened as often as it did. And I'm glad that I was consistent with my YouTube comments at least at the start of the month. But in terms of the rest of them, a little bit sporadic in my application to those. Overall though, I am feeling pretty good about the progress that I made in October. There is certainly room for improvement, but things did get done. Flipping over to the month in review. So going through these pretty quickly, this month I am especially grateful for all of the gorgeous people who checked in for my Month of Planning with Me series. If that was you, thank you so much. It was a total pleasure having you watch along as I planned on the daily. In terms of goals that are growing well, I listed connections and my tackling of my laziness and physical space. Again, there is still more progress to be made, but I am pretty pleased with the progress I've made on those ones. People that I'm grateful for in particular are Rachel and Vogel. Something I'm choosing grace over guilt about was my active minutes. If you were watching along with the Month of Planning with me, you saw how often that got done. Progress that I'm celebrating, even if it was small, and it certainly was small, was my helping around the house more. As I've talked about previously, I'm really bad with chores. So doing our chore revamp and actually getting me to do some more chores is progress that I'm going to celebrate. A couple of my favourite memories from the month was setting up my herb garden, which is growing so well, and then my birthday date night with Vogel at Ozeki. A good lesson that I learned is that I give in to my cravings way more than I should, especially my cereal cravings at like 9:30 at night. Things I'm saying no to next month are working in the evening and not taking care of myself. And things I'm saying yes to are making sure to use my time productively at school, so that then I can say no to working in the evening. Now, because I'm using the 6-month undated planner, and I've been using it for 3 months now, the next section is about a goal refresh. So checking in to make sure that the goals that you set yourself at the start of the book are still the same as the goals you want to continue working on. So the first section says, hooray, it's time for your 3-month goal refresh. Write out your thoughts on the past 3 months. What do you want to keep cultivating? What needs to change? So as part of this, I kind of just wrote down a brain stream of things that I was thinking about. So some of the things I wrote down: stress and fatigue, need to be stricter on my boundaries, uncovered some worrying habits regarding impulse control. For my health, I wrote, you know what to do, just do it. I want to practice more of my art skills. I want to continue connecting with others and getting in new experiences. I want to figure out some better ways to identify my progress, and I want to spend my time wisely. And then I also wrote down there was probably some other stuff too, but that's all I could think of in the moment. The next section is the life evaluation, and you do one of these at the front of the book as well. But at your 3-month check-in, you do it again just to see which areas are growing and which ones might need to be a focus. As part of this page, you also get to write out your word for the next 3 months, and initially I had picked focus, but as I started to fill this in, I felt that I also needed to include action. So you can probably see a couple of patterns in these ones, especially in the section of what I'm saying no to. So, having looked through them, saying no to giving into cravings, saying no to letting time pass unchecked, saying no to using time mindlessly, saying no to wasting time, saying no to complacency, and complacency. I felt that over the past couple of weeks in particular, I am getting a lot more complacent with things. And I don't want to let that kind of thing happen. Flipping over. On this one, it is the goal refresh. So it says, flip back to your original goals and choose your path. A, rewrite your goals with fresh words, or B, move on to new goals, or a combination of both. So for this, I did decide to stick with the same goals. Though, once I started filling in my tending list, I thought that maybe that wasn't the best idea. But hey, it's what has been done. So for the most part, my goals did stay pretty much the same, but I did change the wording on some of them. So looking at goals that did change, we have goal 3, in which I wrote, achieve better work-life balance while still maintaining my effectiveness as a teacher. For goal 4, I said, nurture my connections with my friends and family, rather than just others. For 6, I said, stop being complacent and a lazy shit. Again, it's said with love, I'm not being mean to myself. But the other ones did stay the same. And then we are on to November, and our November cover page here says, the best things in life are cultivated little by little. So on my Prepare Well page, I pretty much just said see Bujo because all of these dates are written down on my calendar in there. I did do a little summary of some of them, but there's a lot more in my journal. In terms of my important to-dos, most of them are school related because as we're coming up towards the end of year, there is plenty to get done. Things I'm excited for are the summer holidays because the end of term is fast approaching, Rachel's wedding, and getting the 2020 PowerSheets. For my brain stream here, I wrote down in my bullet journal habit tracker habits and other things that I was tracking just so that I had those front and center when I started to plan out what I wanted to put in my PowerSheets. And flipping over to my tending list. So for this one, in the idea of combating complacency, my encouraging words were seize the day, and my top priority was to get shit done. Again, I've given myself some sticky notes here just to break up some of the things that I've put down on this page. So as per usual, to start with, I have making my December tending list. I also included spending time with my friends and family, which has a sticky note over here. I have working on my term 4 to-do list, because that's kind of going to be a focus for the month coming. I have completing my self-care and personal presentation items, which also gets a sticky note. Writing out a holiday action plan, so planning on when I'm doing work and when I'm not. Also planning what I'm doing for Christmas. Organizing the photos folder, I would ideally like to have that done by the end of the year. And top priority, do not forget, planning Rachel's bachelorette party. That party's next weekend, so it's gonna have to get done soon. For my weekly action items, again I've written down in some of the boxes the dates that I want those things to be done. But I've got trying a new recipe, making a new bullet journal layout, chore completion, meal planning, next week's priorities list, and playing Xbox. You'll see that on a couple of these ones I have 2 stars instead of just 1, and that's because I felt that the action item fits into 2 of my goal categories, not just 1. And so far on my daily action items, I have a goodnight ritual, so making sure that I'm getting to bed at a reasonable time, brushing my teeth, doing my skincare, that kind of stuff. Doing my daily reflection, and doing a daily weigh-in. At this point, I feel like there are probably a couple of other things that I want to include on my tending list, but I haven't quite thought of them yet. I would love to know, however, what do you guys have on your goal plan for this month? What kind of things are you looking to achieve in November? November's gonna be a super busy month for me, both socially and at work. So I am hoping that in amongst all of that craziness, I do get a lot of this stuff done. Thank you for watching, team. If you liked today's video, please do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you wanted to see more from me, feel free to go check out one of my other videos. Until next time, bye!